Let's go down to 1.5, and then let's scroll down. We just talked about changing mouse pointers, right-clicking, back and forth buttons. I'm on Internet Explorer. Your back and forth buttons are right up here, okay? It's a back button. This is a forward button. Scroll down just a little bit more. It says super back button. What does that mean? That's actually not a technical term. I think the technical term for it is called a history back button. Right next to the back and forth button, you'll see one that drops down. This is super handy. Guess what? It has all of the page titles of where I was at.
But what if I'm in Mozilla?
Click and hold your back button. If you click and hold your back button, it'll drop down and say, oh, here's your list of history.
I didn't even know that was even there.
Okay, this is a huge jump. Say I wanted to get back to one of the pages, okay? And it just kind of depends on where you're at. But I can technically jump 10 steps at a time if I wanted to. Instead of going back, back, I can jump 10 steps at a time and then even hit refresh if I needed to or whatever, depending on what's going on in the scenario. We call it your super back button. It's slang. It's probably technically called the history back button. But that is a huge piece of the pie, okay? Huge piece. Okay, let's scroll down just a little bit more. Stop or cancel button. Normally you'll have some sort of an X. I'm kind of pointing to the one in Internet Explorer. So what happens here is say you submit something and it's timing out or it's dragging or it's stopping or the panic button or whatever, okay? This little red X, what it does is it kind of severs the connection. It kind of says, oh, just kidding, just kidding. Certain things may have already happened, okay? That doesn't automatically mean, oh, cool, back it totally up. I didn't mean to submit that credit card payment, okay? What it means is stop if you can. Okay, I wish it was a magic little whoop, reverse it, but that's not. That's part of the browser. If the server's already done a certain part of that and you stop it, it only got part of it. Okay, that is a browser thing. We can't really deal with that. Does that make sense? But that's your stop button. So say you run this big, huge report and it comes back. You're going to have 9,000 records. You know, oh, I didn't really want that. You might be able to stop it, and then the server's actually go, oh, good. I didn't really want to send you that many anyway. But I'm just teasing. But that's the stop button. The refresh button, usually it's 2 arrows or some sort of a circular pattern. The refresh button. What does refresh do? This actually needs some comments real quick. Sherry O, can I pick on you? What does refresh do?
Well, it brings your page to current. If you've worked in it or made any changes, you can refresh your page.
Okay, often this works great in, like, say, a report. Say you have a report and you're pulling it, and you're, oh, I just need to tweak this by a little bit, and you're over here doing the edit process, but you didn't want to leave. Say you had 2 windows open, you do your edit, and you come back here and you say, refresh. Oh, perfect. Like, that's a great way to use refresh. Can you get in trouble with the refresh button? When do you get in trouble with the refresh button? Usually in the add mode, okay? If you're in ad mode and it submits something, you're like, oh man, and then you hit refresh, guess what? The server has no clue. You just re-put a new record in, okay? It has no clue. It's just doing what it's told. So like, say for instance, I was adding something, and you're like, oh, ooh, or you just happen to, not just happen to, usually it's a specific, you hit it, but if it's in ad mode, it has no clue that you just added something. So that is a way of kind of
deleting what you just did.
While we're talking about this is a browser thing, and this is very, very important. Another way that people get duplicate records, and this is browser thing, say they're in ad mode. Say we're adding a customer log. Customer calls us on the phone, and they're like, hey, I'd really like to do this and this. Can you do this? And you're like, I'm going to record this. You go to that customer, you find them, say, add new log. Pops you up a new page, and you say, and then you say, submit. You're like, oh, I really meant to put this. If you use your back button and then you type it into the one that you just were doing and then you hit submit again, guess what you just did?
Did it multiple twice.
Okay? The reason is you were using an awesome feature called the back button, but because it was still in ad mode, it had no clue that the previous one was added. That's just a browser thing. Like we just help to train people on that. So what you do, anytime you add something, you add it, and if you made a mistake, you look for the edit. That is so important. Otherwise, you could potentially make some duplicate records. There are ways that you can go in there and you're out of there. You just usually what's called changing a status to inactive or hide or delete or something like that. We've allowed for a lot of that, but sometimes some of the common problems are duplicating records because you're in the add mode. It's the add mode that's kind of the scary one because it's purposely going to be inserting a new record. When you're editing, what you're doing is you're saying, go find that key ID, find its main number, and then keep putting that data back in that same spot. Basically right over the top of it or change whatever needs to happen. Okay, let's go back here real quick. Find and search, we talked about this. So we've got a ton of data on this page right here. What's a fun word that would probably be on this page right here?
Button.
Button. Everybody go Control F. It's one of the fastest ways to do it. And type in button. I have 76 matches for the word button. And it highlights it, okay? This is a feature of the web browser that's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So say you pull up a certain parts report or pulling up your widgets and you're like, whoa, I've got 50 records and you don't want to scroll all the way through it. You could almost do a little sub-search even without hitting the database. Hey, I'm looking for the one that has, say you did a search by a certain part number, but there's a bunch of them that kind of match that, and you're like, oh, I was just trying to get close, but I wasn't close enough. You could either resubmit the search and tighten it down that way, or you could search locally by doing Control F and being like, I also know that this one has the word black in it. Like say you search by a certain part number, TFFF77, whatever your part number was, but you didn't want to do you could just do that, it pulls up whatever matches, and then you can say black, Control F, black, and it drops you right to that little ones where it highlights, oh yeah, there's the black ones. It's a sub-search within a search, and it's built into the browser. It's awesome.
And the enter key should take you to the next entry of the button.
Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. There's a number of buttons usually that you have so that you can actually kind of jump next to next to next to next. It's pretty powerful. That's built into a browser. Awesome. In order to close it, all you have to do is click a little X. Some of the browsers actually have it that'll basically it'll slide down, up and down, depending on if you're mousing over it. Okay, I'm still on Web Basics. We're scrolling down. We've done refresh button, find and search text, links and navigations. Pretty common, right? You just mouse over it. It'll usually your pointer will change from an arrow or an I-beam into like the little hand tool, like it looks like it's going to click on it. Forms. Let's talk briefly about forms. In order to talk about forms, we're going to actually scroll up the page until you see the graphic on the right-hand side. We're just going to be dealing with the bottom little sections there. This little piece right here. Okay, pretty easy. We have a basic text field. We have a text area field. This means I can add tons and tons and tons and tons and tons, okay? And if I hit enter in here, it just adds a carriage return. If I hit enter in here, it'll submit the form, okay? There's a slight difference there. Okay, this is called a drop-down menu or a select thing. You have check boxes. This is like options. And these are called radio buttons. And a radio is actually a physical choice. Do I want 1, 2, or 3? And you select one, and it automatically deselects the other one. I want 2, it automatically deselects the other ones. Okay? Checkboxes are add multi, and then radio buttons are actually physically like a choice. What it is, this right here is the exact same as this. The only difference is how it's displayed in a rough sense of the word. Okay? Great, let's scroll back down and just see what else we have here.
So you're talking about putting in those actual boxes. It says select or choice 1, choice 2.
Okay, correct. So anytime you have a little, that was just a graphic, so you can't even really click on it to do it.
Yeah.
But anytime you have a drop-down option with the little arrow, and you click on it, it gives you options and choices, okay? That's called a select or a drop-down box. And you would say, oh, I want PO type live or whatever, okay? That's where a selection would come in handy. Often, say we're doing report types, and we might say, instead of having a drop-down, we want you to physically see, because sometimes if it's in a drop-down, people skip it. They're like, I don't want to do that. But say like on a report type, do you want the small, medium, large, or extra large? I'm going to put it in a radio button, and then you're going to have to say which one you want. Oh, I'm looking for medium. And it'll deselect the other ones and just give you the medium. It's basically the same thing as if you had a select box and you said, which one would you like? Small, medium, or large, and then you have to choose from a list. This is already a pre-displayed list. That's why they call it a radio button. Or it's actually called a group, because it deals with a group of those features. Awesome. This might sound really random, but this is important. If you don't know how to use a browser, it's literally like riding a motorcycle without knowing which hand does which thing and which of these little levers does which thing, okay? Like, you need to know. Like, this is what you're riding on. This is what you're riding on. Okay, we're going to scroll down. Buttons. Buttons are fairly simple. It usually means you're going to be able to click on something. Okay, tab versus enter. What have we got there? Sherry O, you use tab all the time, and you use enter all the time. Can I pick on you? What's the difference? Tab key?
Tab is between your fields. Enters, a lot of times is an action. It will submit your page and such.
Okay, great, great.
Tab's phenomenal.
Awesome, awesome. So tab jumps from hotspot to hotspot, okay? And so hotspots could be a form field, another form field, or it could be potentially even like a link type thing. So if I'm on a certain spot and I hit tab, 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 basically it just jumps from hotspot to hotspot. And as you're watching it, it just kind of helps you so you don't have to pick up your mouse, scroll down, or whatever. It's a great way to move in your stuff. Who knows what shift tab does, just really quick?
Backwards of where you were.
Okay, correct. So if tab goes forward, shift tab says go backwards in that same hotspot jumping pattern, okay? Awesome. Let's go down just a little bit further. We have cut, copy, and paste. We'll cover this very, very briefly, very, very quick. Who can tell me how to copy something?
Just highlight it.
Highlight it and then what?
Hit copy. And then
Control
what do you
V,
want?
control.
Okay, if you're a keyboard person, it's Control C. C isn't copy, okay? If you're not, if you're a right clicker, you select it, you right click it, and there's an option, okay? And usually it's never two right clicks in a row. It's always a right click and then a left click. Right click and then a left click. You never go right, right, right. Like you never do multiple right clicks, okay? It's usually a right click and then a normal selection on that. Okay, let's do cut. What does cut do?
It
Okay,
takes it out.
it does, and guess what it does? Every single computer has a thing they call the clipboard. Guess what your clipboard is? It's a mini session for your own computer. It's a little container, okay? So when you basically select something, say I have a whole paragraph here that I want to cut, I select it. You've got to select it first, okay? Right click it. You know, it's not going to let me cut because I'm not actually in edit mode right now. But there's the link where it would be. Or Control X. Cut it. Okay? What it does is it copies whatever that is onto your personal little clipboard. It's like your little session. And it just happily stays there. It's like, oh, I'm still alive. I'm okay.
Automatically goes to clipboard.
It copy and cut automatically goes. The difference is copy leaves it and makes a copy. Cut says, I'll remove it and make a copy, if that makes sense. Both of them go to the clipboard. And then the cool thing about that is once you have something on the clipboard, you can then get it out. How do you get it out of the clipboard? You have to get to where you want to go, and then you paste, okay? And that's very important. Like, the cool thing is it actually doesn't remove it from the clipboard. It just says, oh, I'll put that there. So you can use it multiple times. Like, say, for instance, we had a thing, and we wanted to, so like Shannon, when she was doing the C-W, if she wanted to for all of those Corp-Wide settings, she totally could have been like, I'm just going to select that small part, copy it, tap in the next field, you know, paste, tap, like, paste. But anyway, you can do it multiple times. It just stays on the clipboard until it gets replaced by something else. As soon as I say, oh, I want to make a new copy, it takes whatever was on the clipboard and it replaces it. It's virtually like your own little mini session, if that makes sense. Okay, cool.
Is paste Control P?
No, actually it's V. They're right next to each other on the keyboard. Take a look. X, C, and V. They're right next to each other on the cut, copy, paste. Looks like a cheerleader, huh?
You did a good job.
I'm just teasing you. Okay, printing from the web. Actually, one of the most challenging things is sometimes printing from the web. If you're in a Word document, you can set margins, you can do all this kind of stuff. You can create columns, you can do this different things. Sometimes printing from a web is a challenge. However, the cool thing is you can print any page. So if you're on a help file, you can say print. If you're on a report, you can say print. If you want to see some things, you can click print preview. Oh, let's shrink this down, let's expand it. Oh, let's flip the orientation. The orientation means like landscape versus portrait, okay? One's tall, one's wide. You can flip things, and that's dealing with printing, okay? When we get into detailed printing, like say for instance writing checks and stuff like that, we actually use Flash or PDF or something like that, where we can control it a little bit more than just the general web. The general web is actually very tough to control as far as printing. It's because like this particular page right here, if I take this page and I expand it, watch what's going to happen to my text, okay? I can change different things are going to happen, whatever's going to be going on. It'll move and sort. And see how it's kind of moving some of these pieces around? Webs are super awesome for that. But however, if you go to try to print that, guess what? It still has that same functionality built into it. So it sometimes makes it tough. So we do have ways of printing things, and usually we either use a Flash component or we use a PDF, an Adobe PDF. And then we basically lock it into a more rigid format where we can predefine things.
Okay. Is there a faster way when you're printing on the red? There's times I want just the Word document, and I don't want all the
other stuff?
Yeah, but when you get print, sometimes you get everything, and you get all that. Just uses all your printer stuff. Is there any way other than cut and paste out of there? What I use just cut and paste to a Word document and then print that, because I don't want all the Word. Is there a faster way?
If you have Adobe PDF, like Adobe Acrobat, it's another product. This is not something that makes, this is a great add-on, okay? But you can technically select things. Now I have Adobe Acrobat on my browser, and you'll see a little button at the top here that says select, okay? Watch this, I'm going to scroll up to the top of the page here just to kind of give you an idea. If I turn this feature on, watch this, it allows me to come down here and I can say, what do I want to grab? Do you see the little box flipping around? It allows me to say, hey, I just want that. Okay, so I basically can take this and I can say, convert this to a PDF. And then once you're in Adobe Acrobat, you can add, subtract pages, you can move some stuff around. But it's an add-on tool and you would have to buy it. But if that's your need, I would say go get Adobe Acrobat. Okay, that's what I would say on that. But if I were to convert this to a PDF, even though this is a multi-page document, it would only grab that little thing right there. It's pretty handy. And that's actually an Acrobat feature. That's not an Adilas feature. So I'm just going to keep scrolling down here to make sure we're covering these things. I'm trying to go fast. I hope you're okay with it, because some of you are like, oh my goodness, I thought we were going to start doing it. I promise we are. We are, okay? Screen capture. Who knows how to capture a screen? Okay, why would you need to capture a screen? Say you get a random error message or something. You're like, whoa, what in the heck is a timeout? You know, like, I didn't do anything wrong. Okay, what you do is there's a keyboard. Basically, we're using copy and paste, but it's a digital copy and paste. Okay, so a screen capture is literally saying, what is on my screen and can I capture it? Okay, we're going to do it right now. Why don't you, whatever you're on, look for the thing that says print screen at the top of your keyboard. They're kind of on the top right-hand side usually.
Was systems required also, print screen?
It might have that, yeah. And that depends on the thing. But if you click the print screen one time, what you're doing is you're virtually going like this. And what we did is we just replaced whatever was on the clipboard with that digital picture, okay? Now, if you have some sort of Word document, or everybody should have this. Everybody go down to your Start button. All programs, accessories, and WordPad. Just really simple. Once WordPad is up, go ahead and hit paste. Control V as in Victor. And you technically just took a perfect screenshot of what you have going on. Okay? You can size it now. You can do all sorts of stuff. If you have a photo editing program, you could actually go in here and doctor it up, take things off, just select certain pieces. This is how you capture your screen. It's a copy and paste for your entire visual display. Okay? It's called screen capture. Anybody have any questions? I see a couple questions. Any questions?
There was one, I've never used that.
Okay.
I haven't either.
I've never used it.
So often what will happen is I'll, for an example, say somebody sends me a logo or I go to their website and it's got all sorts of other stuff, and I'm like, ugh, I didn't really want that. I'll go like this, screen capture, I'll pull it into a graphics program, and I'll be like, I just want this part, and then I'll go in and I'll doctor up this piece. But I'm basically going like this. You're taking a picture. It's a digital copy and paste. That's what print screen is, okay? It's called the screen capture. This is great if you have an error message, or say somebody wanted a certain thing and you don't want them to get permissions, and you didn't have Adobe PDF to send it out as a document. And they're like, hey, what were your sales today? You're like, well, just a second. You run the report, and you go, print screen, open up a Word document, paste, and you send them that little thing. It's almost as if they were looking at your Adilas system. They're like, oh wow, $4,000, or or whatever. So there's lots of uses for it. It's a digital copy and paste. Okay, when I say digital, I'm talking photo, type stuff.
Never used it, didn't even know it existed.
Yes.
No, the one that I use, and this will probably you share, is if you're using 2 screens,
Yep.
and you do that, it pulls out both screens.
It does pull both screens.
So if you use
Oh, Lord,
control
have
print
mercy.
screen, it'll only bring the one.
Control print screen, okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So instead of just saying control,
Control print screen.
No.
It'll only be the one screen.
If she's just talking dual monitors.
Yep.
Like if
Dual
you're
monitors,
spreading.
yeah. So
Yeah, I have a broken arm and I don't have 2 screens.
that's why it's like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of going, okay, can I have 2 screens and a laptop and another one?
Oh,
You know what?
But yeah, the control print screen, I just learned that one a while ago and I loved it. Plus there's it starts with Windows 7, the snipping tool. I don't know if you've ever used
I
that.
haven't.
I haven't either.
Click on your start button, let's see if you've got
Okay.
it.
We don't have Windows 7 on these.
This is just XP. Where we going? All
Oh, are you
programs?
just XP? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to come, I can show you what I'm looking at. It's just a little, it comes with the new version. It's called Snipit, and it'll actually let you come up and you can just take basically put a box around it. Brings up a little graphics program so you don't have to bring the whole screen either.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
The other one that's nice is if you're using the new Excel, is it actually has a screenshot program in it too, so you can put several screenshots in
Perfect.
Excel
Perfect.
and use those. So.
You know what? I think it's amazing, and even there's tons of software that actually can virtually copy all your mouse movements. We're going to be using that for training. Steve has a ton of YouTube videos. There's probably, how many are there? 50, 70 right now-ish?
70 something, I think.
70 some odd YouTube videos, and it's all done with screen capture and voiceover. So he's like, okay, to add a new customer, we're going to go here, we're going to search. Oh, they're not there. Click this. He's just doing that, but he's physically, you're watching all the mouse motions. There's probably 70 YouTube videos on it. This is a piece it keeps enhancing this whole project that we're even talking about. We're talking about dynamic and moving forward. We don't even know what's coming in a way. We have to have a dynamic piece to play in this kind of a world. If you lock it down, you just locked yourself into, wherever you were at. You just posted your rear end right there, okay? Cool. Rear end, right? Okay, we talked about screen capture. Any questions there? Great tool, great tool. New windows and new tabs. Oh, I'm in my Word document trying to scroll down it. I don't want to say that. I'm back to my browser now. Okay, new windows and new tabs. Control N is a great way to do a new window. Control T usually does a new tab, or you can physically click. Oftentimes, the best way that I do it is what I showed you with that right click, okay? So I'll have a page open, I'm like, oh, perfect, it's exactly what I want. I'm like, oh no, I have to go see what other payments are still outstanding because I'm looking at paying a bill and I'm like, okay, what's clearing today? Or something like this. I'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna right click on this deposit homepage, it'll take me over here and I'll run that report. Oh, I've got 4,000 coming in. Oh, like whatever you're doing, you can basically bounce that way. I like the right click to add a new window, but it definitely multiplies your capacity with Atlas. And it's a browser feature. We didn't even build it in, but we ride that and we love it. It's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you Google, thank you Chrome, thank you Opera, whatever, it's great. Okay, the next little thing talks about dual monitors. It's not required. All of you guys right here currently today, you're on single monitors. I'm actually doing a clone. I have a projector connected to mine. You can do all sorts of different things. If you have dual monitors, you could do this. There's lots of options. And if you need to, you just go to a computer store and you say, what do I need to do to get dual monitors? And they'll probably sell you a little video card. If you have a laptop, they by default automatically can connect to another screen. They have a little VGA port at the back. You just do it in, and then you do have to change a little settings, but you can have dual monitors if you're off a laptop and then another screen in a heartbeat. It's very, very fast, very easy. Okay, bookmarks and favorites. This is built into a browser. Steve talked about it yesterday. He's like, hey, if you have a certain report or a certain place that you like to go all the time, why don't you just bookmark it? Why don't you just make a favorite out of it? Okay, and then what you would do is you would go to your favorites. So favorites is right up in here. And if you want more information, you can read about it, but I can bounce to any place I want right here. Say I wanted to go to Google and I had this as my favorite. I didn't have to type anything. I basically just said, hey, take me to Google. Okay, that's called a bookmark. So you could do that inside of Atlas if you wanted to. Say you had certain places that you wanted to go. Eventually, Sherry, bad word, I know. We would like to build this into Atlas so that you build your own buttons, and then you're virtually almost doing like a favorites, but we're going to make it just a little bit more. You're going to be able to name it, you're going to be able to sort it, and you're going to be able to hold all of these settings so that it has the dynamic settings. So like, say I was pulling a calendar, and I only like to look at a week at a time rather than the full month or whatever. You build it in saying, I just want to see current week of my calendar, what have I got? And maybe even with certain filters. Say I was working at an office and there was a bunch of different things that were assigned to different users, and maybe I was the secretary for Joe, okay? I only want to see the weekly calendar for Joe, rather than Fred and Harry and whoever else might be assigned to other calendar items. Like, that's where we want to take it clear to that next dynamic level. But this is already built into a browser. You can use it as is.
Is there a calendar in Atlas?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about the next thing. Address bar and status bar. Now this might sound really technical, but all I'm trying to do is orient you to the motorcycle we are riding on. Who can tell me what an address bar is?
What we've been playing.
It's a little bar up there with the HTTP. It just will send me to another site.
Correct. Okay. Often, like say if I get locked out and I have to reset my login, like I was telling you about tech support stuff, guess where I have to add that? I have to go type it in right up there. I have to type in that perfect thing or copy and paste it and put it into that thing. That's the address bar. That tells the motorcycle, we're heading to Walmart, we're heading to McDonald's, we're going, it's where you're going, okay? So the status bar is the exact opposite. It means you haven't gone there, but if you roll over it, it'll tell you what's going to happen and where it's taking you. Watch this. I'm going to scroll to the top of the page so I have some links. Okay? So I have some links here. Down here, this is the status bar. It's this bottom gray bar. And some browsers have it, some browsers don't. And some browsers only show it if you want it or need it. You can turn it on or off. Okay? As I mouse over something, it changes down here in the status bar. You see how everything's just kind of changing down there? I want you to kind of watch in this general area down at the very, very bottom corner. Okay? As I change things, it'll change depending on what I'm doing. That's very important because basically it kind of says, hey, where am I going if I do click this? The status bar is almost, if you're riding a motorcycle, it's like this. If I put my blinker indicator on and I say I'm going to turn right, I'm most likely going to start turning right. So when I click on that button, it would take me in that direction. Whereas the address bar is like, we're already en route. Here's where we're going, or here's where we're at. Often in Atlas, we will pass the main ID along with some of the different things. Just real quick to show you, we don't have any information in here. Actually, I do. I'm still I'm logged in under another thing. Watch this. If I come in here and say I wanted to show some POs that we bought at one point, and I say, go show me what we had in PO number 4. Okay, we bought a couple printers and some mini card readers. Not a big deal. But if you look up here in the address bar, see how it says ID equals 4? Guess what my PO number is? So if I wanted to change this to say like 3 or 2 or something like that, what would happen?
You get something different.
And if I hit enter, boop, I'm now on PO 3. Looks like I bought fairly similar. It's just slightly different numbers, quantities of printers and card reader things, okay? That's how you can hack the system. I mean, what I meant to say was, no, actually, you really need to know that. It's very, very powerful, okay? Those are called the variables. So basically what we're doing is we're passing something in to a template. this PO page, I didn't change anything else except for the ID number, and all of a sudden it gives me new information. What it is it's very important. This is how the system plays, okay? That key ID number is powerful, powerful, powerful. It's what changes the entire system. If I wanted to go to number 5, watch this. I could go in my quick search and go PO5, and it would physically change my address and submit it, or I could just go in here and say, number 5, enter, and it would be the exact same thing. Watch this, okay? I'm gonna do it one more time. Get off of it. I'm gonna go backspace, number 5, enter. Now I'm on PO5. I only bought 10 of the little card readers for this particular thing, okay? As a note, we actually aren't selling hardware anymore. We'll basically say, hey, go get whatever you want. You know, it's a plug-and-play system. That might be a key word for you, okay? We do not say, okay, you have to have the Star Micronics XYZ printer and the this and this data swiper. Like, you can plug and play. What have you got? Do you have something you already have? You have something that you can get off of eBay? Knock yourself out, okay? Like, it's literally, we create the service, and then you're able to attach and add on your peripherals or anything that you want as you want it. So instead of selling a system, okay, each lane will be $2,500 for the hardware and then X number of dollars for the system, we're like this. About $97 a month for your whole location, as many users as you want, and how do you want to set it up? Oh, we need printers. Okay, go to this website, buy as many printers you need. Like, it's literally that easy. Like, that's the difference, okay? It's one of the differences. Okay, I'm gonna switch back. I'm trying to get through the web basics just so we make sure we cover things. We talked about addresses. Okay, the next thing says clearing a browser's cache, okay? What would that mean? Who knows what a cache is?
Something you store.
Something you store. So what do browsers try to do?
Probably store where you went.
Okay, they store where you went, what assets you're bringing, what photos you have, what videos you've loaded, what things like this. Have you ever noticed if you go watch a YouTube video and then the next time you try to watch it, it goes much faster? Or if you're pulling up an image and at first it's like, pulls up a bunch of images. The next time you go to that page, it runs twice as fast. A browser is built in to do a thing called going to its temporary internet files or its cache. Okay, it's very important. But what happens over time is it's like a garbage can. Okay, eventually it gets filled up and 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 filled up. And eventually, what happens is it's actually robbing your system of certain memory pieces because it's trying to hold all of this stuff. So every once in a while, you have to go in there and you say, okay, I'm going to delete my cache. And it doesn't hurt anything, okay? It might prompt you, do you want me to delete these cookies and all this kind of stuff? I usually say yes, okay? I usually clean it all the way out. Treat it as if you're taking out the garbage. It's like emptying your recycle bin. You got to take out the trash every once in a while. Once you do that, the system then has to kind of be like, oh, I better go get this. Often what happens, and this is just kind of in general, is this, you know how we talked about the server and a user? And how you throw it, and then it throws back, and then it breaks that connection? Well, what happens is if the server sees that you actually have a cache of that, it goes like this. Oh, here's what you need. Oh, it looks like you already have that. I'll only send this little piece back. But you may have wanted the rest of it. Okay, that's where your refresh button often comes in handy. Like, in case it starts to try to shortcut it, that's a browser thing. If it tries to shortcut it, you just hit refresh, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll really send you the whole thing again. It's basically lazy. It saves time and what's called bandwidth as far as the back and forth. So that's what's called a browser cache. Every once in a while, you have to do that.
How do you do that?
Read the help file. No,
Okay.
I'm just. Actually, watch this right here. Tools, internet options, delete browser history. You know, or there's lots of different ways.
Okay.
Fairly simple. Read the help file. Just kidding. Okay. What let's do right now is we're going to come back to Corp-Wide settings. That's where we jumped off. Basically, I had Shannon on an assignment, and we did some stuff. I need a break, and I imagine you guys probably need a break as well. Okay, let's take a break.